intensive
Yeah.
care units and theatres. I mean, hospitals are very complex just because of the integration of the equipment, the risks, the obvious risks that come along with it. If pendants or equipment fails during an operation, it can be life or death. So client-side project management is all about risk management, whether that's risk to your program, risk to your budget, risk to the quality of the build, quality of the design. That's really about risk management, and you can't really manage those risks if you don't know what they are. The only best way of knowing what those risks are and knowing how to manage them is by having done it before. Having experience is a key requirement. And you can gain that experience. You can't just walk in the door and learn that off the cuff, expect to be able to pick up some of these complex projects like PC3, PC4 labs or intensive care units, theatres, some of those highly technical and complex spaces. I can't just make it up on the run. It's not something you can drag experience from a fit-out project or an industrial project and know. Generally, a hospital only has one of them. So when you're refurbishing a CSSD, you have to keep it running. Otherwise, the whole hospital shuts down. So trying to pull out old sterilising units or washers or whatever it is and replace it with new while keeping the whole thing operational really means a 10 or 15 stage project with a whole heap of roles and management along the way.
Life or death.
But yeah, similarly, intensive care units and theatres. I mean, hospitals are very complex just because of the integration of the equipment, the risks, the obvious risks that come along with it if you get it wrong. If pendants or equipment fails during an operation, it can be life or death. So understanding what those risks are and how to manage them through not only just a construction phase, but making sure that the designers are designing things correctly and right, and there's redundancy in the design and there's.
And so what would be an example of maybe top 5 common risks on a, hospital redevelopment, or maybe even like a live environment, live hospital redevelopment?
Obviously keeping the hospital operational. So power, air conditioning, medical gases, accidentally cutting or shutting down a hospital is a significant issue. So
yeah, I'd love to see the liquidated damages clause of the contractor who's signed on for that.
Yeah. So that's the most key one, and that's something that's spoken about and usually managed not just in construction but through the design phase as well, looking at how we can stage the works,
eliminate them entirely,
how the contractor can install and work around having to cut or use some of the services that the hospital are providing. So that's a key one. Infection control obviously is another big one, and that's we try and mitigate that through design as much as we can, but a lot of the time it comes down to construction methodologies as well, and there's various different strategies you can manage that. Design of the ongoing infection control risk is critical, and that's why hospitals are so cold. You lie in bed in hospital, it's always freezing because that's helping manage infection and infection control. Yeah. And that's why when you wheeled in theatre, it's even colder
I've
again.
definitely noticed it.
It's always freezing in the theatres. But
right. I have noticed that, but I didn't think that was a reason. But I guess bacteria grows in warm environments. So
bacteria and condensation. So there's that whole humidity control as well, particularly in theatre spaces. Equipment integration is one we've been really diving into lately. So we've got part of our team guys who biomedical engineers by background. They're project managers now, but have had previous career in biomedical engineering.
So then in terms of when would be the best stage to hire someone like specialised, that would be right up at the kind of initiation planning stage or the FISO stage? Or when do you most when would you most likely get pulled in, or when do you think
right at the start
you should get pulled in?
So that's it, feasibility or business case stage. That's where we can have the greatest control over risk, going back to that knowledge of risks and how to mitigate and manage them. That's best done in the early phases of the project. Once you get to construction, if the design's done, if that's not capturing and mitigating some of your risks, it's almost too late. to some extent. The earlier you get in, the earlier you can identify those risks, you can mitigate or minimise those risks as you move through the different project phases. Almost every design meeting, every client meeting, every user group meeting, every construction meeting, there's a risk item on the agenda. We'll have risk workshops, risk management plans that are constantly reviewed. So it's a live thing that's constantly updated and managed. And that's generally through these meetings. So at a feasibility or business case phase, we'll identify some of the more major risk delivery risks and design risks and workshop those with the client and how we propose to manage or completely mitigate them, or at what stage we can do that, whether it's a design risk that we need to bring in specialist engineers or consultants to work with to come up with strategies and solutions.
Have you ever gone to site in one of these instances and as the PM picked up something like fairly major, whether it was like, a defect that was just waiting to get identified or a huge safety incident or some operational risk that was kind of on the edge of being realized? Have you kind of got maybe a bad memory there that you could share?
What's a good example? We've been out on site when contractors or a contractor has demolished or cut through a wall and hit a water pipe, and that's obviously released a whole heap of water, which has flowed into clinical spaces below, which can create a whole range of issues. So that's probably the first one that comes front of mind. But there's always issues that we're picking up with looking at ceiling space, voids.
Yeah.
Having ductwork sitting too low, for example, or having dead legs in plumbing pipe work, which bring leaks at risk.
What's a dead leg?
It's just a length of pipe, plumbing pipe, which doesn't have an outlet at the end of it. So,
right.
Yeah. So you get in any normal project, you'll have multiple dead legs. Or particularly in refurbishment projects, you'd be cutting off an outlet and you'd just leave it, cap it, leave it. That
you're so right in what you said. It's crazy amount of risk, and you have to have had experience in those exact risk scenarios to be able to properly mitigate them or navigate them, and even just eliminate them at the start of the project. And that's really valuable to a client, and that's worth something. But and then how do you convert that into an ROI?
Absolutely. We wouldn't have a job if anybody could do it.
That's right. Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks a lot, Gordon. That was super interesting. Yeah, thank you for that.
I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to know more about construction and get all the professional tips, tricks, and AI advice from real construction project managers, follow this channel for more insights.